I sold my Denon DJ Prime 4 to purchase CDJ3000s and the DJM-A9 mixer. Am I crazy for doing that? Let's talk about it. Let's go.
I've always wanted to be a DJ.
What's up, everyone? I'm DJ Unprotected. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about me selling my Denon DJ Prime 4 and purchasing the CDJ3000s and DJM-A9. I'm also going to go over the gear, talk about the things I like and some of the dislikes about it, but overall, I love the purchase. Now stick around to the end of the video because I'll talk about my personal thoughts, what drove me to this decision, and overall, what are my expectations. First, let's talk about this awesome gear. I purchased the CDJ3000s and the A9 mixer because this is the industry standard in the city that I moved to very recently, and I wanted to be comfortable with it. Now, one thing that I have missed about this, so we'll talk about the gear, but the mixer itself, what I've missed from Pioneer is the sounds of the effects. I think that they sound way more organic, a lot more clear in the mixes. I love things like flanger and phaser, and I just find that there's less phasing issues than what I was hearing with the Denon gear. Pioneer effects have always impressed me with DJing, and I really just like the workflow. Now, I know that, you know, the essentials of DJing, it's all, the details are all there, right? But I do think that the workflow is a little different. I like what they did here with the knobs, the center lock. So if you're turning the effects, it stops in the middle. You've seen plenty of videos about that, but I really find this to be effective, especially if you're doing some aggressive transition and mixes. It's a lot of fun. Another thing that I really like about this is the link queue. So I appreciate how the entire system can be connected, and this is cool for previewing tracks that you're going to play so you can hear them. Is the groove right? Is the feel right? I mean, obviously, as a DJ, you step up there and know your music, but it is good to be able to cue up an area, maybe a certain breakdown, a vocal sample, to hear how it would be kind of in the mix. One thing I do want to say is that, yes, I purchased two CDJ3000s. The other one, the unit's so big, this setup is so large that couldn't fit it all on camera. Faders feel good. Everything feels kind of smooth. The multiple headphones, this is cool. However, probably unnecessary in my case because I'm using this system to practice at my house. You know, but hey, maybe one day if I need to go and do a jam session with DJs and we need a mixer, I may be willing to bring this out into the group. But I will add that one of the cool things is that with these multiple headphone jacks, that when I'm at the house, I can have a silent disco with some friends around the gear. Because, hey, you know, when you invite friends over, they always want you to DJ and, you know, mix some things up for them. Now I'm going to talk about some things I don't like about the mixer. I know that there's the functionality that you can plug in your USB, connect it to your phone, and record into the DJM Rec application. I downloaded it on my iPhone. I uploaded the firmware on the DJM-A9. However, I cannot get the audio to be recognized by my iPhone. I have a 15 Pro Max, and for whatever reason, the application only listens to the external mic, so none of the music gets input into it, which I think the app itself would be great. It would be awesome if you could stream directly to my phone from the mixer. I like the idea of it, but I just can't get it to work. So to bypass that, I'm using a Tascam audio recorder, and I just plug in the jack. I go RCA to 1/8 and record my input in here and edit my mixes. The effects screen is pretty awesome. It's a lot of fun, especially messing around with the X-Pad during transitions. I think it's really cool. So now we'll talk about the CDJs. These are pretty awesome. I haven't had any issues with connections with the link or whatnot. I think that they work great. The platter feels awesome. It's quiet. Remember my CDJ900s, you could hear yourself spinning the platter. You don't hear anything now. I love the cues up here. It's great. Even doing the loop functions. Like I love how it pops up so that way you can quickly change it. It's a great functionality. You know, I was a little hesitant going from the Denon DJ Prime 4, having one central screen with the tools that you needed, and then figuring out working two different screens, the connectivity functionality. It was not a difficult transition at all. I'm actually very happy with the screens that are on the CDJ3000s. And that's important to me because I got away from laptop DJing 2 years ago. I stopped bringing my laptop to gigs. I prepped my USBs with multiple playlists. So the fact that we're getting these upgraded screens with the high resolution and all the functionality we need right there, working through the menus is super easy too. I really like the tempo reset button. So those are my initial thoughts on the gear itself. I've had this for several weeks now, practicing on it, testing out different mixes, testing out my own tracks, getting creative, and I can say that I've really enjoyed working on the system. Okay, so why I switched from utilizing what I would easily call my favorite standalone DJ gear, which was the Prime 4 that I absolutely loved taking to gigs. I loved practicing at my home studio and I loved jamming out with friends. Why would I make the switch to Alpha Theta Pioneer just to make an upgrade? Well, actually, it was multiple things, but the main driving force behind me wanting to upgrade or change my system was because of this thing called industry standard. Now, I know that industry standard is a very debatable topic, but here are my thoughts. I moved from a city in Texas to now I'm in Las Vegas. And before I moved out here, I was networking with DJs and found out that Pioneer was the industry standard for clubs, for bars, parties, whatever it may be. Pioneer tends to be the gear that's there. And as someone who no longer utilizes a laptop when I'm DJing, and I prefer to just be able to show up, plug and play with some headphones and a USB, and it was very important for me to forcefully be familiar with the record box software and the Pioneer ecosystem. I know what I want to do with my career and playing in clubs, one day playing on stages at festivals. Those are my goals. And if the professionals are utilizing it, I want to use the same system in my gear and practice with it. And most importantly, even though the fundamentals and details of DJing are the same across all the different companies and products that are out there, the details and fundamentals are the same. Yes, I understand that. But I also want to be very familiar with the settings. I don't want to be that guy coming to a new city, getting gigs, and going up to a system and not understanding how to change the settings or to be familiar with the software that I'm utilizing. And so, for me, it made a lot of sense to just jump right in and purchase this gear and force myself to be back into the Pioneer ecosystem like I was 14 years ago. I don't have any regrets with it. Although I love the Prime 4, this is a very impressive system. I really find the CDJ3000s and the DJM-A9 mixer to be very inspiring. I'd look back when I first started DJing. Initially, I had Technique 1200s, vinyl, was figuring things out. But then I was getting DJ lessons, and the DJ who was teaching me, I remember walking into his studio and just seeing the CDJ3000s. You guys remember those? And I was so inspired and impressed and a little bit intimidated at that time by that setup. And I thought it was so cool. So it does remind me of that when I see this system in my home studio. I think it looks great and it feels awesome to be back on a Pioneer setup. Listen, I know the industry standard is a very debatable topic on the internet. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about it. If you have the Pioneer DJ gear or Alpha Theta gear, let me know down in the comments what you like about it. And if you were going from Denon to Pioneer or vice versa, share your thoughts on that too. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.